Hey guys, so I had a comment from someone earlier today that I thought was really awesome that kind of tied in with a previous question that someone had asked. So I thought this would be a good time to address it. So her comment was just that she said I just had a Starbucks cookie, enjoyed every bit of it. I don't really feel like heck's in check now. I'm tired, I'm full, but it was very liberating to enjoy this and not feel guilty since the macro stuff helps me to plan for this. And here's why this is awesome. So um, ultimately, whatever fat loss diet you're following, in order to make it sustainable, you're going to have to keep your heck in check, your hunger, energy, and cravings. If you're not, you're battling willpower, and you're eventually going to lose that battle over time. You can't just eat less, exercise more for a prolonged period of time. So the best way to navigate that or to circumvent that and to make what you're doing sustainable is to keep your heck in check. With that said, when fat loss is the goal, ultimately it's going to come down to calories in, calories out. Total calories are going to matter more so than your macronutrients. Where your macros come from is what's going to keep heck in check. So you're obviously going to want to keep protein higher most days. And eat mostly lean proteins, non-starchy veggies, obviously lots of water, keeping an eye on sugars and starches and things like that. That's how you keep heck in check and make it sustainable. That said, on any given day, if you want to have a Starbucks white chocolate cookie, then by all means have it, because she had it within the context of her macros, and this is where kind of flexible dieting and stuff like that comes into play. So I'm totally cool with this. I think this is perfect. This is how you should do this, how you should make this stick. If you want to have the cookie, then by all means have the cookie. Just do it within the context of your macros that day. So, and certainly, I don't have the cookie every day because that's when we do that, because the cookie is obviously going to be really high in carbohydrates, really high in fat, have no protein in it. So this isn't something that you would want to have every day to keep heck in check. But if in a single day in isolation you want to go have the cookie, have it within the context of your macros. If you don't hit your protein number that day, it's not the end of the world. What's going to ultimately matter is that you stay in your caloric deficit. So if she hits her macros and has a cookie today, then I think that's awesome. I think that's what's going to help her stick to the plan. She's not battling willpower. And then all the other days she has higher protein and things like that, and everything just kind of works. So I love this comment. I love the fact that she did this. This is how you make this stuff stick. It's not about deprivation or restriction of any of your favorite foods. It's about learning how to incorporate them in occasionally into your diet. So that was really awesome. And what it kind of ties into, a question that someone else had previously asked, and to kind of set the context for this, is every Wednesday I send out a recipe to my email list, usually some sort of like fat loss recipe I found online and made, and I kind of talk about like why it's fat loss or how to make it fat loss friendly and things like that. So a couple weeks ago I sent out a French toast recipe that wasn't by itself wasn't the most fat loss friendly meal. But if you had taken it into what this person did and just fit your macros around it that day, then you could have still had this meal. So what the person had asked was that French toast recipe a cheat meal for me? Kind of yes and no. If you can, kind of what the previous person said, if you can fit it in to your daily macros and stay within your total calorie allotment for the day, stay within a deficit, then have it. But it was higher. It was a little higher carb, a little higher fat, but it did have protein powder in it, so it's high in protein too. But anyway, it was high calorie, so it's not something that I would encourage you to have daily. Again, because it's not really the lean protein, non-starchy veggies, things like that. But as far as it being a cheat meal, reward meal, refeed day, whatever you want to call that, certainly it could be. And there are advantages to having these kind of refeed type days or your higher carb, higher calorie days if you're in a pretty restrictive caloric deficit, all the other days of the week, so if you're eating 1,000 to 1,200 calories a day, then yeah, there are some advantages to having, the refeed on a Saturday or whatever day that, you feel like going out and it makes the most sense to fit into your lifestyle. And mostly these are around, leptin, which is our kind of our day-to-day hunger hormone. And these kind of higher calorie days sort of reset that, for lack of a better term, after eating low calorie for all the other days of the week. So there are some advantages there. So, to answer her question, is it a cheat meal for me? I'd rather refer to it maybe as a reward meal. But, is it for this particular person? Again, it all depends. Yes and no. If you can fit it into your daily calories for the day and stay within a deficit, then, have it. But again, not something I would encourage you to have every day, just because that's probably going to throw your numbers out of whack, throw heck out of check, and make it what you're doing not sustainable. Your hunger is probably going to go through the roof if you have a lot of French toast sandwiches. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully that makes sense. If you guys have any questions about that, drop them in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys later with the next question that I get.